Brace yourself. Today, we are diving into what's often considered the most daunting yet vital part of the IELTS exam, academic writing. Let's see the example of the student. The line graph demonstrates the proportion of paper and cardboard, glass containers, aluminum cans, and plastics over a 28-year period from 1982 to 2010. Data shows that recycling of aluminum cans had a notable increase, especially from 1986 to 2010. Aluminum recycling reached approximately 45% by 2010. Interestingly, the trajectory of plastic recycling did not show significant change. The line was not exceeding 10% from 1990 to 2010. Recycling of glass containers decreased to around 40% in 90s, with the beginning of 50% in 1982, then gradually increased to approximately 60%. Similarly, the rate of recycling paper and cardboard starting from 65% in 1982 had slight an increase of 5% and then in 1990 returned into previous value. Suddenly, recycling of paper sharply increased in 1994 approximately to 80% and then gradually decreased to around 70% by 2010. To sum up, recycling of paper and cardboard was keeping leadership in 2010, reaching 70%, followed by glass container, aluminum cans and plastics, reaching 60%, 30% and 10% at their best in orderly. So let's see the corrections now. First of all, missing articles. First one, the line graph demonstrates the proportion of paper and cardboard, glass containers, aluminum cans, and plastics over a 28-year period. But in English, articles A and D are used to specify nouns. In this case, A should be used before 28-year period to make the phrase more grammatically correct. So the line graph demonstrates the proportion of paper and cardboard, glass containers, aluminum cans, and plastics over a 28-year period. Okay, second one, glass container, aluminum cans, and plastics reaching 60%, 40%, and 10%, blah, blah, blah. So the plural form of containers, okay, should be used to match the other plural items in the list. So glass containers, aluminum cans, and plastics reaching 60%, 40%, and 10%. Okay, it will be better. So second one, incorrect prepositions. First of all, blah 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 blah, and then in 1990 returned into, okay, returned in the previous value. It's written in this article like this. But the correct preposition here is to, not into. In English, return to is used to indicate going back to a previous state or position. And then we can correct it like this. And then in 1990, return to its previous value. Okay, recycling of aluminum cans, second mistake. Recycling of aluminum cans had a notable increase, especially from 1968 and 2010s. 2010s should not have the preposition to, as it indicates a specific year instead of a decade. Okay, as well, 2010s is unnecessary here, especially S. So, especially from 1968 to 2010 would be better. So, third one, subject-verb agreement. So, data shows that recycling of aluminum cans had a notable increase, but data is technically a plural noun, so it should be paired with the plural form show. However, in common usage, data can also be considered singular. So both data show and data shows may be acceptable, but in formal writing, it is safer to use data. Data show. Okay? So the data show that recycling of aluminum cans had a notable increase. So it's a perfect match. Another mistake. Recycling of paper and cardboard was keeping leadership in 2010s. Again, S. No need. Was keeping leadership. Okay? Is an awkward construction. Because there is not a match. There's not competition between them. Is an awkward construction and incorrect verb tense. So maintained would be more appropriate. Okay? Maintained the lead in the 2010. Okay? It's a better explanation. So, run-on sentence, another version. Data shows that recycling of aluminum cans had a notable increase. Okay, especially from 1968 to 2010. Aluminum recycling reached approximately 45% by 2010. But, again, S is a problem. This is a run-on sentence, because two independent clauses are joined without proper punctuation or a conjunction. A period of semicolon should be used here. Okay, so correct version. Data shows that recycling of aluminum cans had a notable increase, especially from 1968 to 2010. Finite. Aluminum recycling reached approximately 45% by 2010 again. And then topic closed. Let's move on to next part. Incorrect use of decades from 1968 to 2010s. Okay, 2010s is incorrect when describing a specific end of year. 2010 is enough. Okay, the 2010s refers to entire decade from 2010 to 2019. Okay, so from 1968 to 2010 is corrected version. The line was not exceeding 10% from 1990 to 2010s. This is again wrong. The line did not exceed 10% from 1990 to 2010 is the corrected version. 6. Incorrect comma usage. Okay, slight increase of 5% then in 1990 returned into a previous value. It's again wrong usage. Okay guys, so there should be no space between the number and the percentage symbol. Okay, so slight increase of 5% together, and then in 1990 return to its previous value, I can say. Similarly, the rate of recycling paper and cardboard starting from 65% in 1982 had a slight increase of 5%, blah blah blah. So there is an extra space before the comma and percentage sign, okay, which is incorrect. So corrected version would be similarly the rate of recycling paper and cardboard starting from 65% together in 1982, comma, had a slight increase of 5%, blah blah blah. Seventh mistake, awkward phrasing. Okay, the trajectory of plastic recycling did not show significant change, comma, there is no space directly. The line was not exceeding 10% from 1990 to 2010. S again wrong. So this sentence basically is awkwardly phrased and lacks clarity. The line was not exceeding. Okay, should be changed, did not exceed, to be more concise. Okay, everything is clear till now? Okay, the trajectory of plastic recycling did not show any significant change, remaining below 10% from 1990 to 2010 will be corrected version. So, to sum up, recycling paper and cardboard was keeping leadership in 2010s, as again wrong leadership, there's no leadership, reaching 70%, blah blah. Was keeping leadership is awkward, okay? It will be better phrase as mentioned the lead, okay? So, to sum up, paper and cardboard recycling maintained the lead in the 2010, reaching 70% will be okay. So, 8. Redundant and unclear expressions. At their best in order. At their best in orderly, what does it mean? At their best in orderly is unclear and redundant, guys. It could be omitted or replaced with in descending order. So it will be better. So reaching 60%, comma, 30%, comma, 10%, and 10%, comma, in descending order, we can say. So, summary of common grammar mistakes and corrections will be like this. First of all, missing articles. Okay, you need to ensure appropriate articles A and D are included, especially with singular countable nouns. And second one, incorrect prepositions. Use accurate prepositions for phrases. For example, return to is previous value, not into. Another one, subject-verb agreement. So the subject agrees with the verb in number. For example, data show rather than data shows. And run-on sentences, another mistake. Separate independent clauses with a period, semicolon, or conjunction. Incorrect use of decades as well. Avoid confusion by specifying individual years instead of using 2010s, okay, when referring to a specific year. And another version is incorrect comma usage, okay? Avoiding adding extra spaces around punctuation marks, okay? Awkward phrasing as well, another mistake. Aim for clear and concise wording, guys. Not make a lot of mistakes. Redundant and unclear expressions as well can be listed here. Remove unnecessary words to enhance clarity, okay? Everything is clear, so please never make these mistakes next time. So let's move on. So let's look at the 4 criteria of IELTS Academic Writing Task 1. Okay, first of all, task achievement. The candidate covers the trends for each material type, including increases, decreases, and notable points in the data. However, the response lacks a clear overall summary of the main trends. A strong introduction summarizing general trends for all materials will improve clarity. Some information is inaccurate or unclear, such as aluminium recycling reached approximately 45% by 2010. With sound, specified aluminium saw a significant rise over the years. So, details about specific time points and trends, such as years of stability or sudden changes, could be more accurate and concise. Second one, coherence and cohesion. Okay, guys, the candidate uses some linking words to indicate changes over time. Interestingly, similarly, you can use all of them, but in academic writing task 1, you have to use it carefully. So the structure could be more logical. For example, discussing each material's trends separately from the highest to the lowest recycling rates will improve clarity of this article. The paragraph is inconsistent with certain points presented in disorganized manner. The conclusion is also not entirely clear and could be refined. Third one, lexical resource. Some appropriate vocabulary is used, such as trajectory, notable increase, gradual increase, and so on. However, the word choices are sometimes awkward or unclear. For instance, phrases like keeping leadership in 2010s at their best in orderly are confusing and could be replaced with clearer explanations. For example, 2010s as, what is S here? Or at their best in orderly, for example, because there is no best here, there is no competition here. So there is some repetition of words like recycling or increase. More synonyms such as reprocessing, growth, or rise will improve lexical variety. So for grammatical range and accuracy, of course. So our candidate attempts to use complex sentences and some transitions that can be okay, but on the other hand, the response contains several grammatical errors, including incorrect tense usage, missing articles, and subject-verb agreement issues. Okay, sentence structure is sometimes awkward, and punctuation errors make certain points unclear. Okay, guys, so the response will benefit from a greater range of sentence structure, including passive voice and more complex clauses. So overall task achievement, coherence, cohesion, lexical resource, grammatical range, and accuracy will be 6. But grammatical range and accuracy as well will be 5.5 because there are a lot of mistakes. So overall, I can say it is 6. Corrected version overall. The line graph shows recycling rates for 4 materials: paper and cupboard, glass containers, aluminum cans, and plastics from 1982 to 2010 in a particular country. The data indicates that the recycling of aluminum cans experienced a significant increase, especially from 1968 onwards, reaching approximately 45% by 2010. In contrast, the recycling rate for plastics showed minimal change, remaining below 10% from 1990 to 2010. The recycling rate for glass containers initially dropped from around 50% in 1982 to about 40% in the early 1990s, but then gradually rose to approximately 60% by the end of the period. Similarly, the recycling rate of paper and cardboard started at around 65% in 1982 and saw a slight rise to 70% in 1968 before returning to nearly 65% in 1990. The recycling rate for paper sharply increased in 1994, peaking at about 80% before gradually decreasing to 70% by 2010. In summary, paper and cardboard had the highest recycling rate throughout the period, ending at 70% in 2010, followed by glass containers at 60%, aluminum cans at around 45%, and plastics at nearly 10%. So overall, we can correct this article like this. So if you'd like to see Part 9 version, never miss to check our description. If you made this far, you're in for a treat, okay? It's time to dive into the real magic of essay comparisons. The first essay crafted by a candidate had a solid structure but fell short due to repetitive language, which impacted the overall score. As well, a lot of grammar mistakes. In the second essay, we made the improvements aiming for a second score, actually aiming for a score between 8. And finally, we examined the top tier version that could score between 8.5 and 9. This final essay didn't just use more advanced vocabulary, it was engaging, fluent, and free-form repetition, of course. So, how did you rate that top band score? It's all about diversifying your vocabulary, supporting your points with relatable facts or relatable arguments, and swapping repetitive words for synonyms. This approach can make a notable difference in your overall score. So, thanks for sticking with us. We are committed to bringing a fresh essay and detailed evaluation every day. Make sure to like, follow, and drop your questions in the comments below. We would love to hear from you.